Well, hello there, podcaster, and welcome to another True Crime in 5 minutes, where, yes, you guessed it, Belle listens to an episode, normally from Case File, and she explains the entire episode in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I love my true crime. So, look, if there's one that just stood out to me that I really, really think you guys should be across, it's very interesting, I share it with you.
I got 5 minutes on the clock, Belle, ready to go?
Yeah, cool. I want to give a warning. There's some pretty bad mutilation in this one.
Can you have good mutilation?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, no, as it hectic. I want to talk about the most wanted woman in the world.
Whoa.
This happened in the 90s. She was the most wanted woman for almost a decade.
Margot Robbie?
Yeah.
Livy Dunn?
Okay. So we're going to start the story with the main victim of this story, which her name was Beverly. She was a lovely lady in her 30s. She lived by herself. And look, she was living a normal life. She didn't have any enemies. She had a normal job. She just lived in her apartment by herself. She had two siblings, adult siblings. They received letters from her saying, hey, I'm just going to take off. I'm done with this. I'm going to go. I'm going to move overseas. I'm just going to start my own life again.
Seems pretty sus.
She called her workplace and quit on the day and said, I'm not coming back. They just assumed it was her. They assumed it was all normal. Okay, she's gone. She also emailed her, she sent a letter because it was the 90s. She sent a letter to her real estate agent, said, I'm moving out, hooroo. Her siblings thought this was really weird. They went to go to her apartment and check on her. They got there, they let themselves in, the place was in disarray. It was like she had gone out to the shops and left it a bit messy, not like she had packed up to leave. So they knew something was wrong. They cancelled her credit card, and because they were like, all right, well, let's cancel her money. Let's see if that works, she won't be able to do anything. She'll come back because we just want answers. She disappeared and was silent for 4 days. They heard nothing. They didn't know what was going on. 4 days later, hundreds of kilometres away, a couple were fishing by a river and they came across her body. She had no head and no hands.
Oh, God.
Which is a normal, usual thing for killers to do to conceal identity. You chop off the hands or the fingers, so you take the fingerprints, and you also chop off their head. They had also cut off all of her tattoos so that you couldn't identify her by her tats.
God.
Thing is, they missed one. There was one tiny little rose on her ankle, and that's what identified her. So they put a call out and said, look, we found a body. The police put the call out. We found a body. It's got a tiny yellow rose tattoo on the ankle. Her siblings said, oh, my gosh, that's her. That's Bev.
Jeez.
Yeah, so pretty horrendous. They then went back to her apartment. They were like, okay, well, is there anything here that we can find as a clue? One of her friends said, I remember she said she got a weird message on her phone machine saying, I know where you live. I know who you are. And she was like, who is this person? When they went to the apartment, her phone machine was completely gone. Her home phone with the answering machine was gone. So okay, well, that's weird. Then everyone was talking, cross-checking, and they realized she just got a new housemate. So her housemate was this lady called Alice. And they were like, yeah, she was obsessed with this lady called Alice. She was from the UK. She was really well spoken. She had a nice car, great job. And Bev was like, oh, she's the best. She's awesome. She's really into numerology. She does she predicts your future and she uses numbers in your life. And they were like, okay, how? Oh, you just give her your birth date. You give her your address. You give her your phone number. You give her your social security number, your passport number. And then she can predict your future. Now,
yeah, or steal all your money.
Correct. So things started to piece together, and then they found this woman that was hiring cars from Avis, the car hiring company, and driving them around and leaving them abandoned all over the UK and around Europe, and was stealing people's identities and using numerology and moving into their houses and becoming friends with them to predict their future, but in the meantime, making fake passports, driver's license, bank cards, stealing their identities to go around, and then was supposedly killing people while doing this.
Yeah, right.
So that's, awful in itself. They finally found her. This is 6 years later. By this point, there'd been all those TV shows, crime shows, being Australia's Most Wanted, UK's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
She was on the World's Most Wanted show. So Finally, they tracked her down. Someone was like, I swear I've seen that woman. She had blonde hair, then she had black hair, then she was fat, then she was thin. She was dressing up as men, she was dressing up as women. She was just completely like, she could just shapeshift.
Yeah, right.
They finally found her and the police came to her door. They said, look,
Oh, what a time for the buzzer to go off, eh?
what do you want,
it
Nerez?
startles you. Like Belle
does.
literally
It
flinched because you're
always does.
thinking there's a murderer behind you. Like that, and that's why I'm like, ah!
No, we'll give you a little bit more time, Belle.
There's only one more thing that happened, and it is very sad. They went in to arrest her. She said, just give me a sec. I'm just going to get dressed. Yeah, you found me. You got me. She went into her bedroom, closed the door. They were like knocking, and they said, look, come on, we got to go. She said, I'm just getting dressed. And then they heard a gunshot, and she shot herself. And that's it.
And so they never knew if she killed those people. Like they would just assume.
They just assumed because she went into their lives and then they were found dead. Now, the other question is they didn't know if she worked with people, if she had accomplices, if it was just her. Yeah, because
So
they
she was
said,
so she was like a drifter. Like she would come into their lives.
she went in and out of psych wards as well.
Yeah, right.
So
She'd
she
steal
was
their
very
identities.
unstable, yeah. And
It's
she,
like a movie, isn't it?
Isn't it wild where it's like obviously that person chose their talents for evil, but it's like in a movie where they're like, if you applied yourself to good things,
Yeah.
it's crazy what someone like that could do.
well, she would like mimic how people acted. Yeah, and we talked about one last week where that guy was pretending to be kids. Like this woman was pretending to be
that guy
men
was
and
weird.
women.
Maybe they
Yeah.
were friends. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
yeah.
it was the same person. There you go. Now have we thought of that? Yeah.
Well, Belle, another true crime well
Yeah, it was
told.
a good one.
Catch you again for the next one.